I am 45 years old. I was married to Andre for 23 years. We have a teenage son, a house we built together, and a life that seemed solid. I loved this man with all my heart. I thought he loved me too. 2 years ago, I started feeling unwell. At first, it was just fatigue. Then came the pain, weakness, and dizziness. I went to doctors for months. Dozens of tests, examinations, and consultations. No one could understand what was wrong with me. The diagnoses changed every week. One doctor said it was nerves. Another said it was age-related. A third suspected a serious disease, but the tests didn't confirm it. I was fading away before everyone's eyes. I lost weight, my strength, and my ability to enjoy life. Andre supported me at first. He went with me to clinics, held my hand during appointments, and said everything would be fine. But with each passing month, I saw him pulling away. I saw his gaze become empty when I talked about how I was feeling. I saw him staying late at work more and more often. Our intimacy disappeared completely. I was too weak, too sick, too scared. And he stopped touching me. He stopped hugging me in the mornings. We slept in the same bed, but there was a chasm between us. I blamed myself. I thought I had become unattractive, that the illness had stripped me of my femininity. I'd tried to take care of myself despite the weakness. I put on makeup, did my hair, and bought nice clothes. But it was as if he didn't notice. A year later, the doctors finally found the cause. A rare autoimmune disease that is difficult to diagnose. We started treatment, and I gradually began to recover. I was happy. I thought everything would work out now, that we'd get our life back, our relationship, our intimacy. But Andre became even more distant. He came home late. He answered questions in monosyllables. He was constantly on his phone. I tried to talk, asked what was wrong. He brushed it off. Everything's fine, just a lot of work. One evening, when I was almost fully recovered, he came home and said, "We need to talk." There was no pain in his eyes, no regret. There was relief. "Lena, I met someone else," he said, calmly, as if reporting a change of supplier for the business. "I want to be with her. I'm leaving." The ground fell out from under my feet. I had just returned to life after 2 years of fighting an illness. I had just started to feel human again, and he's leaving. "Who is she?" I squeezed out. "It doesn't matter. I love her. I'm sorry." Sorry? He's asking for forgiveness for leaving a wife who fought a deadly illness for 2 years? For destroying a family? For betraying 23 years of marriage? I learned the truth later, from mutual acquaintances who saw them together. A girl, 19 years old, only 2 years older than our son. Long black hair, a doll-like figure, a perfect physique. He met her while I was lying there sick, while I was going to doctors, losing my last bits of strength. He was starting a romance with a girl young enough to be his daughter. I am 45. I am a beautiful woman. I take care of myself. But I was sick. I couldn't be bright, cheerful, or passionate. I was fighting for my life, and he was looking for youth, health, and lightness. He found it in a 19-year-old girl who knew neither pain, nor responsibility, nor real life. I couldn't believe that the man I'd lived with for over 20 years, who saw me young and beautiful, who swore his love, just went and left for a child. But he left, and my life collapsed for the second time in 2 years. When Andre left, I thought it was temporary insanity, a midlife crisis, fear caused by my illness, anything. I thought he would come to his senses in a week, a month at most, and come back home. But he didn't come back. On the contrary, he immersed himself in this relationship as if the rest of the world didn't exist. I saw his Instagram before I blocked him. Photos with her, every day. Restaurants, trips, hotels, the sea, mountains. She was in expensive dresses with designer bags that I recognized. He was giving her everything I had once asked for and never received because we need to save for the business, for our son's future. Our son, 17 years old. He saw the photos before I did. He came home pale, his phone shaking in his hands. "Mom, is this true? Is Dad with her?" I couldn't lie. I hugged him and we cried together. My boy, who had idolized his father his whole life, looked at me with red-rimmed eyes and asked, "Why? Why did he do this to you? You were sick." My son tried to call Andre. Dozens of times. He wouldn't pick up. Then he wrote a dry message. "I'll explain later. Don't get involved in adult matters." Don't get involved in adult matters? His family is falling apart. His mother lay sick for 2 years while his father was starting an affair with a girl? My son went to his office. He barged in and made a scene. He screamed, cried, demanded explanations. Andre was cold. He said he had a right to personal happiness, that he wasn't obliged to live in an unhappy marriage, that he and I were long strangers. Strangers? After 23 years? After I bore him a son, built a house, supported his business, fought an illness believing he was by my side? My son returned home broken. He looked at me and said, "Mom, I will never forgive him. Never." And I saw how not only my marriage was crumbling, but also the relationship between father and son. Andre lost the respect of his own child, but it seemed he didn't care. He had a new toy. I learned the details from mutual acquaintances. He stopped looking after the business. He showed up late to meetings with partners or didn't show up at all. He forgot about important contracts. All his attention was consumed by this girl. He spent money like a madman. A trip to Dubai, a week in the Maldives, a car as a gift for her. He rented an apartment in the city center to meet with her without hiding. I understood that this couldn't last long. The business required attention, money, and time, but Andre was as if blind and deaf. He lived in a pink bubble where he was a successful man with a young beauty by his side who needed him. I watched this from the sidelines and felt a strange mixture of pain, anger, and pity. Pain because this was my husband, the man I loved. Anger because he betrayed me at the hardest moment of my life. Pity because I saw where this was leading. 4 months after he left, I filed for divorce. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I realized he wasn't coming back, and I needed to protect myself and my son. The lawyer said I had every reason to demand half of the jointly acquired property, the house, the business, the accounts. I agreed. Not out of greed, out of fairness. I invested 23 years of my life in this marriage. I bore the son, raised him, kept the house, supported him when he was just starting out. I had a right to that half. Andre was furious. He wrote angry messages accusing me of kicking him when he was down. Down? He's having a hard time with a 19-year-old mistress at resorts? But the law was on my side. The court ruled half the property was mine. The business, which was already barely breathing due to his irresponsibility, finally collapsed. Partners left, debts began to grow. I took my half and walked away, without looking back. My son stayed with me. He refused to even speak to his father. And Andre was left with the girl who loved his money, not him.
A year has passed since the divorce. I have recovered completely. I've regained my physical health and started to recover emotionally. It was hard to accept that 23 years of marriage ended in betrayal. I went to a psychologist. I worked on myself. I learned to live again, alone but not broken. My son entered the university. We became closer over this year. He saw my pain, saw how I got back on my feet, and it made him stronger. I heard about Andre by chance, through mutual acquaintances, through rumors. The picture forming was a sad one. The business finally collapsed 6 months ago. Debts, lawsuits from partners, bankruptcy. Andre tried to save the situation, but it was too late. He had ignored business matters for too long, too busy with his affair. Half of the assets went to me by court order. The other half went to pay off debts. In the end, he was left with nothing. No business, no house, no savings. He had to move out of the apartment he rented to meet with Alina. There was nothing to pay with. They moved in with her into a rented studio on the outskirts. The romance ended, reality began. And a 19-year-old girl didn't need the problems of a nearly 50-year-old ruined man. She needed restaurants, gifts, travel. She needed a successful man with money who could provide a beautiful life. A month ago, an acquaintance told me she saw Alina with someone else, a young guy about 25, in an expensive car. They were kissing near a shopping center. Andre wasn't there. I didn't feel schadenfreude. I felt sadness. Sadness that the man I loved had destroyed his life for an illusion, for a girl who needed not him, but his money and status. 2 weeks ago, my son wrote to me. He said his father tried to contact him, asked for a meeting. My son refused. He said he wasn't ready, couldn't, didn't want to. I don't know what has become of Andre now, whether he lives alone, whether he's working, whether he's trying to rebuild the business or has resigned himself to the collapse, whether that girl has finally dumped him or is still keeping him around in case he gets back on his feet. It doesn't matter to me anymore. He made his choice. He chose a young body over loyalty, passion over love, illusion over reality. He left a wife who was fighting a deadly illness. He lost his son's respect, and he destroyed his business. He was left with no money, without a family, without a future. And me? I am alive. I am healthy. I am free. I have a son who loves and respects me. I have half of what we created together, and I will invest it in his education and our future. I learned one thing. Real love doesn't leave during hard times. Real love doesn't look for a replacement when things get tough. Real love stays. Andre didn't stay. He left chasing a pretty picture, and he got exactly what he was chasing: emptiness. Sometimes I wonder if he has regrets, if he understands what he lost. But then I realize this is no longer my story. My story is about how I survived twice. The first time, defeating the illness. The second time, surviving betrayal. And I won both times. I am 45 years old. I am a beautiful, strong, healthy woman. I have my whole life ahead of me. And the man who betrayed me has only regrets ahead of him, if he's even capable of them.
I'm 47 years old. I owned a small but successful business. I had a wife, a son, a house, everything needed for happiness. But I lost everything. And I alone am to blame for this. 2 years ago, my wife Lena got sick, seriously sick. The doctors couldn't understand what was wrong with her. Months of examinations, tests, endless visits to clinics. She was fading before my eyes, becoming weak, pale, and scared. I tried to support her. I really tried. I went to doctors with her, held her hand, said everything would be fine. But with every month, it became harder for me. Not physically, emotionally. There was an atmosphere of sickness at home. Lena constantly talked about symptoms, fears, about what was happening to her. I understood she was scared, that she needed support, but I was suffocating. I would come home and be covered by this cloud of pain, weakness, and hopelessness. Our intimacy disappeared completely. Lena was too sick. She had no strength. And I couldn't. I couldn't touch her because I saw only illness in her. Not the woman I loved, but a sick person slowly fading away. I know how this sounds. Cruel, selfish, but it's the truth. I was tired. Tired of hospitals, of fear, of the atmosphere of dying in my own home. I started spending more time at work. I stayed late, went to meetings that could have been held over the phone. I was running from home, from reality. That was when I met Alina at a cafe near the office. She was sitting at the next table, laughing with a friend. Bright, lively, carefree. Long black hair, brown eyes, a smile that made you want to smile back. I didn't plan to introduce myself, but our eyes met. She smiled, I smiled back. I walked over, asked for her number. She gave it. Easily, without games, without flirting, she just gave it. We started texting, then meeting. At first, just coffee, conversations. She talked about her life, university, part-time jobs, dreams of travel. Everything was so simple, so easy. With her, I didn't have to think about diseases, fears, or problems. She was like a breath of fresh air, like a window into another reality where there is no pain and fear, where there is only youth, energy, life. I knew it was wrong. I knew I was cheating on my wife who was lying there sick, but I couldn't stop. Every meeting with Alina was like a drug. I forgot about everything, about Lena, about my son, about my conscience. A month later, we became intimate, and it was incredible. I'd forgotten what passion was, what it was like to feel desired, young, alive. With Lena, we hadn't had intimacy for over a year, but with Alina, I felt like a man again. Another month later, I realized I had fallen in love. Not just a crush, I had actually fallen in love. I thought about her constantly. I waited for messages, meetings, her smile, her laughter. I compared. At home, a sick wife, heavy atmosphere, fear, fading away. With Alina, youth, joy, life, passion. And the choice seemed obvious. When the doctors finally found Lena's diagnosis and she started recovering, I didn't feel relief. I felt disappointment, fear. I realized I didn't want to return to my old life, that I wanted to stay in this new reality with Alina. I made a decision. I came home and told Lena the truth, that I met someone else, that I was leaving. She looked at me, and in her eyes was a pain I wanted to run away from. But I couldn't stay. I couldn't pretend to love her when I was thinking about another. I left. I rented an apartment, started living with Alina, and for the first time in 2 years, I felt happy. I didn't think about the consequences. I didn't think about Lena, about my son, about the fact that I was destroying a family. I thought only about myself, about my happiness, about the fact that I was finally living, not just existing. I was selfish, but in that moment, I didn't care.
The first months with Alina were like a dream. I lived in some parallel world where there were no problems, obligations, or past. It was just me and her, a young, beautiful girl full of life who had chosen me. I showered her with gifts, expensive restaurants, boutiques, jewelry. She admired them, thanked me, kissed me. She said I was the best, the most generous, the most caring. I felt like a king. I am 47, and beside me is a 19-year-old beauty looking at me with loving eyes. Other men were envious. I saw their looks when we walked into a restaurant. I was proud. We flew on vacation every month. Dubai, the Maldives, Turkey, Greece. Alina wanted to see the world, and I gave her that. I booked the best hotels, ordered excursions, bought her everything she looked at. The money went quickly, but it seemed to me like an investment. in happiness, in love, in a new life. The business was running itself. Partners were managing, everything was going as usual. Or so it seemed to me. In reality, I had stopped overseeing things. I skipped important meetings. I forgot about contracts. Partners called, wrote, and I brushed him off. Figure it out yourselves, I'm busy. My son tried to get to me. He came to the office, shouted, cried. He accused me of betraying his mother. He said I destroyed the family for a girl who was young enough to be my daughter. His words hurt, but I convinced myself that he just didn't understand, that he was young, didn't know what it was like to be in a loveless marriage, that I had a right to happiness. I told him, "You'll understand when you grow up." He looked at me with contempt and left. That was the last time we had a normal conversation. Then, Lena filed for divorce. She demanded half the assets. I was furious. How dare she? I built this business. I invested my energy, time, money. And what did she do? Sat at home raising a child? The lawyer explained that legally she was right. Jointly acquired property is divided in half. I tried to fight, but the court took her side. Half of everything went to Lena. The house, money from the accounts, share in the business. I was left with half, but the business was already bursting at the seams due to my irresponsibility. Partners started leaving. They didn't want to work with a man who had bailed on business for a young mistress. Clients were leaving too. My reputation was ruined. I tried to fix the situation. I went back to the office, worked 12 hours a day, but it was too late. Debts grew, contracts were broken. 6 months after the divorce, the business collapsed completely. Bankruptcy, lawsuits, everything I had built for 15 years evaporated in a few months. The money ran out. We had to leave the apartment I rented for Alina and me in the center. We moved to her place, a small studio in the outskirts that her parents rented. Everything changed. Alina became colder. She got irritated over trifles. She no longer admired my gifts because there weren't any. She didn't want to go on vacation because I couldn't pay. I looked for a job, but it turned out that at 47, with a failed business behind you, no one needs you. Rejection after rejection. Alina started disappearing. She said she was with friends, at school, at a part-time job. I didn't believe her, but I kept quiet. I was afraid to lose the last thing I had left. A month ago, I saw her with another guy, a young guy, an expensive car. They were kissing near a shopping center. She didn't even try to hide. That evening, I asked her. She didn't lie. "Andre, you're nice, but you have nothing. No money, no job, no plans. I'm 19. I don't want to carry you." I was speechless. Carry me? I spent everything on her. I lost my family, business, son for her. She shrugged. "That was your choice. I didn't ask you to leave your wife. You wanted yourself." And she left. Just packed her things and left. No drama, no tears. Easily, just like she once gave me her number in the cafe.
I am 48 now. I live in a rented room in a shared apartment on the outskirts of the city. I work as a manager in an electronics store for minimum wage. I have no car, no business, no savings. I have no family. Did Lena get married? No, I haven't heard that, but I know she is healthy, working, and living with our son. They are managing without me, even better than with me. My son hasn't spoken to me for over a year. I tried to contact him. He blocks my numbers. I wrote letters. He doesn't answer. I went to the house. He doesn't open the door. I lost him, my only child, whom I loved. He cannot forgive me for leaving his mother when she was sick. And I understand him. I can't forgive myself either. Alina? I heard she is dating a guy from a wealthy family, traveling, living the high life. I don't think she even remembers me. I was just an episode for her, a man with money who gave gifts and took her on vacations. When the money ran out, she didn't need me anymore. I was angry at her for a long time. I accused her of using me. But then I realized it's my own fault. I saw what she needed: luxury, attention, status. She didn't hide it.
I thought I could provide that forever. It turned out I couldn't. Every day I wake up and think, how did I end up like this? How did a successful businessman, a loving father and husband, turn into a lonely loser in a shared apartment? The answer is simple. I chose passion over family, illusion over reality, a young body over a faithful wife who had been with me for 23 years. Lena was sick. She was having a hard time. She was scared. She was in pain. She needed my support, and I ran away to a girl who entertained me and demanded nothing but money. I didn't love Elena. I loved the feeling of youth she gave me. I loved my reflection in her admiring eyes. I loved the envy of other men. But it was all built on money. When the money ended, the love ended too. I thought my wife had become uninteresting to me because she had aged, gotten sick, become boring. But the truth is I was the boring one. I was afraid of old age, afraid of death, afraid that life was passing by. And instead of appreciating what I had, I rushed to find youth in someone else's hands. I lost everything. A wife who loved me, a son who was proud of me, business I spent 15 years building, my self-respect. And what did I get? A few months of passion with a girl who saw me only as a wallet. Sometimes I walk past our old house, the one where I lived with Lena and our son. I look at the lit windows and imagine how they live there without me. Dinner, watching movies, talking. I could have been there. I could have been part of that family. But I chose to leave. Lena recovered. She handled the illness. And she handled me, my betrayal, the divorce, the loss of 23 years of marriage. And me? I handled nothing. I broke at the first difficulty. I ran away from problems into the arms of a young mistress. And I paid for it with everything I had. I am 48 years old. I live in a shared apartment. I work for pennies. My son hates me. My ex-wife lives without me and is happy. My ex-mistress has long forgotten my name. This is my life now, the result of my choices. And the scariest part is I can't turn time back. I can't fix it. I can only live with this burden and try to move on somehow. Where do you move when you've lost everything?
I'm 19 years old. I'm a student, I work part-time as a promoter, and I live with my parents in a rented apartment. Money is always tight, but I'm young and I have my whole life ahead of me. I wasn't looking for a rich man. I just met Andre in a cafe and everything started spinning. He was 47 when we met. I knew he was much older, but he looked good, well-groomed, confident, successful. He spoke interestingly, joked, was attentive. Next to him, I felt like an adult, important. He didn't hide that he was married. He told me right away on the second date. His wife was sick. The relationship hadn't been the same for a long time. They lived like roommates. I had heard these stories before from other girls. Married men always say that. But with Andre, it was different. He didn't lie, didn't dodge. He really was unhappy. I didn't plan on a serious relationship. I'm 19. I want to study, go out, have fun. But Andre was persistent. He courted me beautifully, gave flowers, invited me to restaurants. I had never been to such places. For me, it was like a fairy tale. I didn't demand expensive gifts. He gave them himself. Bags, jewelry, dresses. He said he wanted to see me beautiful. I didn't refuse. What girl would refuse gifts? But I wasn't dating him for that. I liked his attention, the way he looked at me as if I were the most wonderful thing in his life. He was experienced, confident, caring. I didn't feel that way with peers. They were boys, unserious, selfish, thinking only about themselves. A month later, he said he wanted to leave his wife for me. I got scared. That's a family, a child, 20 plus years together. I said, Andre, don't think about it. But he was adamant. He said he couldn't live a lie anymore, that he loved me, not his wife. I didn't want to destroy someone else's family, but he left on his own. I didn't force him, didn't demand it. He made a decision and left. When he rented an apartment and we started living together, I thought this will be temporary, that he would come to his senses, return to his wife. But he didn't return. He immersed himself in our relationship completely. The first months were good. We spent a lot of time together, traveled, went to restaurants. He was happy. He said he was finally living, not just existing. But I saw that something was wrong. He abandoned his work, skipped meetings, didn't answer partners' calls. When I asked, he brushed it off. Everything is fine, don't worry. His son came to his office, made a scene, screamed that his father was a traitor, that he left a sick mother for a girl. Andre came home gloomy. I tried to support him, but he shut down. I felt guilty. Because of me, a family fell apart. Because of me, a father lost his son. I tried to talk to Andre, to suggest taking a break, giving him time to think, but he didn't want to listen. He said that I was his choice, his happiness, that without me, he would return to that gray life. I didn't understand then that he hadn't run to me. He had run away from his problems, from the fear of old age, from a sick wife, from responsibility. And I was just a convenient excuse. 6 months later, everything started to crumble. The business collapsed, the money ran out. We moved into a cheap apartment, then to my parents' studio. Andre looked for a job, but faced rejection everywhere. He changed. He became irritable, withdrawn, constantly complained about life, about his ex-wife who sued for half. Blamed everyone around, but not himself. I tried to support him. I cooked, waited for him from work, tried to cheer him up. But with each day, it became harder for me. I am 19. I should be studying, meeting friends, building my life. Instead, I'm living with a nearly 50-year-old man with no job and no money who blames the whole world for his problems. And I started to realize this isn't love, it's dependency. His dependency on the illusion of youth, and my dependency on the attention of an older man. But it's one thing when this man is successful and confident, and quite another when he is broken, ruined, and living in the past.
I didn't leave Andre right away. I tried. I honestly tried to be there, to support him, to believe that everything would work out. But with each day, I realized we were at a dead end. He's 48, I'm 19, almost 30 years difference. When he had money, status, confidence, it didn't matter. He was an interesting, strong, experienced man. But now he had nothing except memories of what he used to be. My friends looked at me with pity. They asked, Alina, why are you living with a grandpa? You're 19, find a normal guy. I made excuses, said I loved him, but I didn't believe those words myself anymore. I started noticing things I hadn't seen before. Wrinkles around his eyes, gray in his hair, fatigue in his movements. He's old, much older than my father, and that started to scare me. When he fell asleep next to me, I lay there thinking, what was I thinking? What am I doing with my life? I'm 19, I'm young, beautiful, I have my whole life ahead of me, and I'm wasting it on a man who was old enough to be my father, and whom I can't help in any way. I tried to talk to him honestly. I said it was hard for me, that I wasn't coping, that we needed to change something. He got offended, accused me of abandoning him in a difficult moment. He said, when I had everything, you were there, and now that things are bad for me, you're leaving? But it wasn't about the money. It was about the fact that I realized
We are from different worlds. Dating a young guy of 20 with no money is one thing. You are both young. You grow together, build a future. You have a whole life ahead to earn, achieve success, start a family. But dating a man of nearly 50 with no money is completely different. He has already lived most of his life. He had a chance and he blew it. He had a family, a business, stability, and he destroyed it all. For what? For a few months of passion with me? I felt guilty, as if I destroyed his life. But I didn't ask him to leave his wife. I didn't ask him to spend all his money on me. I didn't ask him to abandon his business. He did it himself. I met a guy at school, Maxim, 25 years old. He works as a programmer, rents an apartment, is cheerful, easygoing, with plans for the future. We started talking as friends, then more than friends. It was easy with him. He didn't burden me with problems, didn't complain about life. We laughed, walked, dreamed. I realized I had forgotten what it means to be young and carefree. Andre noticed I was pulling away. He started getting jealous, monitoring my phone, asking questions. It became unbearable. I was living like I was in a cage with a man who was clinging to me as his last hope. A month ago, I couldn't take it anymore. We fought and I left for Maxim. Andre called, texted, begged me to come back. He said that I was all he had left, that without me, he was nothing. But that was exactly what scared me. I don't want to be someone's meaning of life. I want to live my own life, build a career, study, travel, fall in love, make mistakes, grow. I'm 19. I have so much ahead of me. I cannot carry the burden of other people's mistakes. Andre destroyed his life himself. I'm not to blame for his choices. I just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Now I'm with Maxim. We're dating, making plans. He's young, full of energy, with dreams. We have everything ahead of us. Yes, he doesn't have big money, but he shouldn't have it yet. He's 25. He's just starting. Andre writes sometimes. I don't answer. I feel sorry for him, truly sorry. But I can't help him. No one can help him but himself. He sought youth in me, an escape from problems, an illusion of a new life. But youth cannot be bought or stolen. It either exists or it doesn't. He doesn't have it, and I'm not obligated to give him mine. I'm 19 years old. I shouldn't have to save a 48-year-old man from the consequences of his own decisions. I have to live my life, and I will.
Before me is the story of 3 people, each of whom suffered serious psychological trauma: a wife betrayed in her moment of greatest vulnerability, a husband who destroyed his own life chasing an illusion, a young girl who became the instrument of someone else's crisis. Let's break down what happened here on a psychological level. Let's start with Andre. His behavior is a classic midlife crisis, exacerbated by the fear of death. When his wife fell seriously ill, he was confronted with his own mortality. A spouse's illness always reminds us that we are also mortal, that life is finite, that youth fades. Andre couldn't cope with this fear constructively. Instead of supporting his wife and reassessing his priorities, he started running from the hospital, from home, from reality. Meeting 19-year-old Alina became his salvation, an illusion that he was still young, strong, and desirable. This is called thanatopia, the fear of death, which manifests through the denial of aging. Andre tried to prove to himself and the world that he wasn't aging. The young mistress became living proof of his youth. If such a girl wants him, then he is still in his prime. He projected everything he feared onto his wife: illness, aging, withering. When he looked at sick Elena, he saw his own future, and it was unbearable. It was easier to leave for the one who had no hint of mortality. Andre also demonstrates narcissistic traits. He made decisions thinking only of his own comfort, his emotions, his happiness. A sick wife. It's hard for her, but it's hard for me too, so I have a right to leave. A suffering son. He doesn't understand, he's young. The business is collapsing. I'll deal with it later. Right now, I need love. He didn't think about the consequences, didn't calculate the risks, lived for immediate pleasure. This is infantile behavior, a refusal of adult responsibility. He behaved like a teenager who fell in love and was ready to abandon everything for that feeling. When everything collapsed, he started looking for someone to blame. The wife sued for half, she's to blame. Partners left, they're to blame. Alina left, she's to blame, but not him. This is a defense mechanism of the psyche, externalization of responsibility. Now Alina. Her trauma is multi-layered. The first layer is the illness. 2 years of living in fear, pain, and uncertainty. This is a severe ordeal that changes a person forever. People who survive serious illnesses often suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. The second layer is betrayal at the moment of maximum vulnerability. When a person is sick, they are completely emotionally dependent on loved ones. Her husband was her support, hope, anchor, and that anchor just disappeared. This destroys basic trust in the world. Elena blamed herself. She thought she became unattractive because of the illness. This is a typical reaction, taking the blame when a partner cheats. It's easier to think I'm bad than to admit he is a weak, selfish person. Her psyche protected itself with the illusion of control. If I'm to blame, then I can change something. If he's to blame, then I'm helpless, and that is scarier. The third layer is betrayal with a young girl. This is a blow to female self-esteem. 45 years old, just recovered from an illness, and the husband leaves with a 19-year-old. This causes feelings of inadequacy, shame, and age discrimination. Now Alina. 19 years old is an age when personality is still forming, boundaries are blurred, self-understanding is incomplete. She got into a relationship with a man who was much more experienced, older, and manipulative. Andre used her inexperience. He showered her with attention, gifts, created a sense of adulthood and significance. For a 19-year-old girl, the attention of a successful man is a powerful boost to self-esteem. She didn't understand that she had become the instrument of his crisis. She thought it was love, but it was dependency, his dependency on the illusion of youth. When Andre lost everything, Alina faced reality. She didn't just leave him because of the money. She realized that a 30-year difference matters, that dating a peer with no money and a 50-year-old with no money are fundamentally different things. This caused her feelings of guilt. She thinks she destroyed the family, but that's not true. Andre destroyed the family himself and used Alina as an excuse. All three suffered trauma. Elena from betrayal and loss of trust, Andre from losing everything and facing the consequences, Alina from feelings of guilt and the manipulations of an older man. Now, let's talk about how each of them can heal and move forward. Elena, you have lived through a double trauma, illness and betrayal. The first thing you need is to acknowledge your strength. You defeated a serious disease. You survived a divorce. You raised a son alone. You are an incredibly strong woman. Working with a psychologist or psychotherapist is mandatory. You need to process the guilt you are feeling. You are not to blame for getting sick. You are not to blame for your husband leaving. The illness is not your fault. The betrayal is not your fault. It is important to restore trust in yourself and the world. After such betrayal, it is hard to trust people. But not all men are like Andre. There are those who stay by your side in sickness and in health, just as they promised in their vows. Work on your self-esteem. You are a beautiful, well-groomed, strong woman of 45. This is a wonderful age. You have immense experience, wisdom, and an understanding of life. You deserve love, respect, and happiness. Do not rush into new relationships. Give yourself time to heal. But do not close yourself off either. When you are ready, allow yourself to open up to love again with a person who will appreciate you. Andre, you have the most difficult work ahead of you. You lost everything: your family, business, son's respect, money, mistress. Right now, you are at rock bottom, and you have two paths. The first is to continue blaming everyone around you and feeling sorry for yourself. The wife sued, the mistress left, partners betrayed, life is unfair. This path leads to depression, alcohol, and total degradation. The second path is to take responsibility. Admit that you destroyed your life. Not the wife, not the mistress, not the circumstances. You, your decisions, your actions, your ego. It will be painful. Facing the truth is always painful. But only through admitting guilt can the path to redemption and recovery begin. You need therapy. Work on the midlife crisis, the fear of death, and narcissistic traits. Understand that youth cannot be returned through a young mistress. Wisdom and dignity come with age, and that is beautiful. Try to restore the relationship with your son. Do not demand forgiveness, just admit your guilt. Tell him you were wrong, that you regret it, that you understand his pain. Do not expect him to forgive you immediately. Give him time, perhaps years, but try. Start building your life anew, not the one you had, that cannot be returned, a new one. Find a job, even a humble one. Stabilize your finances, rent a room, but support yourself. Restore your self-respect through responsibility and labor. And never run from problems again. Meet them face to face. This is the only way to be an adult. Alina, you are young with your whole life ahead of you, but you need to learn lessons from this situation. First, you are not to blame for the destruction of someone else's family. Andre made the decision himself. You did not manipulate him. You did not demand that he leave his wife. He used you to escape his own problems. Second, be careful with relationships with people much older than you. A large age gap often means a power imbalance. The older partner is more experienced and can manipulate, consciously or not. Third, learn boundaries. Learn to say no. Learn to see red flags. A married man who says he is unhappy in his marriage is a classic red flag. If a person is unhappy in a relationship, they either work on it or leave honestly. They do not get a mistress. Work on your sense of guilt. You had the right to leave when you realized the relationship was not for you. You were not obligated to carry an adult man who destroyed his own life. Build relationships with peers, with those who are at the same stage of life as you, with whom you grow together, not with someone who has already been through everything and is now clinging to your youth. To all three, forgive yourselves. Everyone makes mistakes. Elena was wrong to blame herself. Andre was wrong to destroy his life. Alina was wrong to agree to such a relationship. But mistakes are a part of life. It is important not to repeat them, but to learn from them. Life goes on. Everyone has a chance to start over. Elena has already started. She is healthy, strong, independent. Alina has started. She is with a young man building her life. Andre can start if he finds the courage to look the truth in the eye. It is never too late to change course. It is never too late to take responsibility. It is never too late to heal. The main thing is to want it.